Welcome back, everybody. This is the first. We're going to try this out. We're going to see how it goes. This is the first live football talk with Hawk. We're going to do the picks here. It's been a nice long day in college football. Let's run down some of the stuff that happened today. First of all, thank you so much for stopping by. Huge college football day. Hopefully, your Saturday was enjoyable and your Sunday will be the same. Some big college football games. Iowa State lost as I'm doing this right now. Louisville is actually beating Clemson. Texas A&M is currently losing to South Carolina. Like, there is a lot going on today. It has been upset city, but IU, the Indiana football Hoosiers, are still undefeated, and I am absolutely freaking pumped about it. It is fantastic to be able to watch this team right now. So let's get into everything. We're going to run through the picks. Not going to take too much time tonight. I had a longer podcast played out, but I was like, you know what? Let's try this live thing. So here we go. So Hawks pick 6 with the extra point. We're going to go pick number 1. Now, remember last week we went 4-3, which was huge because it gave us a winning week, which was awesome. And this week we are going to look to try to do more of the same. So the first pick we're going to go is Atlanta at home over the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this is a really bad spot for Atlanta. They have not been getting pressure on the quarterback. I really think they need to make a move at the deadline. Really believe they need to make a splash here because it has not been good. So I don't like the spot for Atlanta, but here's the thing. As I said, they are a team that has to avoid a bad loss. The Cowboys are not a good team. They have no running game. Ezekiel Elliott is suspended, which may actually be good. I don't know. We'll find out. But with Ezekiel Elliott being suspended, it's only Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. You kind of got to watch what happens through this game. If Dallas beats Atlanta, Atlanta will have a lot of questions to answer. So I don't like this spot for Atlanta, but I'm going with Atlanta again. They haven't failed me all year long. We're sticking with it. We're going with Atlanta. So I got Atlanta over Dallas as my first pick. And the second pick, I'm going with the upset. I do not like the New Orleans Saints at all. Even with Derek Carr back, Saheed is out, offensive line is banged up. Olave he's banged up. They've really only got Jawan Johnson, Taysom Hill, and Kamara. Now, Kamara is obviously enough. We've seen him do plenty on his own. There is no doubt about that. But I like the Carolina Panthers at home here. I think the way that the team is starting to play, they traded Deontay Johnson. It doesn't look like Thielen is going to be coming back, but they have a run game. They can control the clock. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. The weather has been brutal down south again. The wind has been brutal all over the place. It was bad all week this week. And that's actually why I kind of changed my kickers in my fantasy teams to guys that were inside domes because I think the wind is going to really play havoc in a lot of areas. Watch for that to be a factor, but I'm going with the upset this week. Got to pick one. There's a lot of big spreads on here. I mean, New Orleans is a 7.5-point favorite. I'm going Carolina. I am going Carolina over the Saints. Big road win, big home win for the Carolina Panthers. And the New Orleans Saints, I think, just start selling after this week. I really think that's what's going to happen. I think they're just going to sell out and get rid of all the big contracts and get ready for 2025. So we got Atlanta over Dallas, Carolina over New Orleans. Pick number 3 for this week, we're going with the Browns at home over the Chargers. Winston is not as good of a quarterback as he thinks, but I do believe that Watson not being there has rejuvenated that team enough. The defense is getting healthier. The offensive line is getting healthier. Chubb is there. This will be Chubb's second week back. The Chargers are good, but you saw in the game against Arizona, they have a very, very low ceiling right now. Herbert can be amazing, but against a defense like Cleveland, I don't see Herbert really being able to get the ball over the top. They've been struggling running the football. And I think that's the recipe for a 3-point game. Right now, the Chargers are favored by 2.5. That's what Vegas thinks. They think that the Chargers are the better team on the road. I'm going home dog again. Going from Los Angeles to Cleveland, number one, that's the first issue. It's a cross-country trip. Number two, outdoors. Cleveland's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. And I like Kevin Stefanski right now coaching his team to victories. It's Kevin Stefanski being what he was last year. We were all in awe of what Stefanski could do, winning a football game with 4 different starting quarterbacks. That hasn't changed. None of that has changed. He was told by ownership, start Watson. We're going to run with Watson. Do not get off of Watson. Let it just play out however it does. Watson gets hurt, he can go win games. And he will go win games. So the third pick is going to be Cleveland over the Chargers. That's pick number 3. Pick number 4 is going to be Washington over the Giants. You guys know I love the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels, second week back. He's even healthier. I'm not even going to do a lot of talking on this game. I don't understand. I kind of get why it's only 4. Like, the Giants are 3.5-point underdogs at home, but the Giants suck. Like, let's just be honest with it here. They're bad. Daniel Jones hasn't thrown a touchdown since Andrew Thomas went out. I love Malik Neighbors. They've got a good, solid start for the future. Definitely do. I like what they've got. Tyron Tracy, the running back. They need a better offensive line. They definitely need a better quarterback. But they do have pieces. So we're not going to throw them, way, way out to pasture, but they're not beating Washington. So the fourth pick is going to be Washington over the New York Football Giants. All right, pick number 5. We will pick the 2 hardest games, but you guys know I try to pick the Colts game every single week. And yeah, Colts are on the road. Flacco is starting. There is hope of having a more consistent offense with Joe Flacco starting. However, it's Minnesota, extra rest, Sunday Night Football in Minneapolis. We don't got a shot. There is no shot for the Colts to be able to win this game. None whatsoever. So I'm going with the Vikings to absolutely romp the Colts, probably more in the second half, close in the first half, and then just pull away. The offense is too powerful. They've got a running game. They've got a deep ball threat. I don't see the Colts staying close. So I'm going to go with the Vikings over the Indianapolis Colts. They're currently 5.5-point favorites. I think they easily cover that at this point. There's really no question in my mind about that. All right. The 2 big games this weekend, Detroit at Green Bay. Green Bay is a 3.5-point home dog right now. And normally I'd go with the home dog. But I think here's where I'm going to... Jordan Love... Here's where I'm going to kind of slow down. Jordan Love, do you remember the first game back against Minnesota? They got beaten the first half at home and then started coming back in the second half. If you remember the game between Detroit and Minnesota, Minnesota didn't make a ton of mistakes. It was just very clear one had Jared Goff and the other had Sam Darnold. I think that's exactly what's going to happen this time too. I think that is 100% what's going to happen this time. You're going to see either an injured Jordan Love or a Malik Willis with an aggressive play caller Great schemer. Matt LaFleur is one of the top 5 play callers there is in the NFL. 100%. He's going to scheme. He's going to get positions ready. This is where you're going to notice Aiden Hutchinson not being on that Detroit defense. I think this is the first one where you really see that happening and coming into play. But the offense with the number 1 offensive line behind a running game with 2 running backs up in Green Bay, it makes sense. Detroit will probably only win by a field goal, but I do believe Detroit pulls out the W. So I've got Detroit on the road over Green Bay. And then the final game of the week, got the Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams. The Seahawks are currently a home favorite by 1.5. DK Metcalf is out. Noah Fant is probably not going to play as well. I don't like this spot for the Seahawks. They've really been struggling, They've kind of gone on a losing streak here, and I don't think the Rams are the right team to try to get right against. The Rams coming off extra rest. It's not that hard of a trip. It's a road game, but you've got the better quarterback in Stafford, currently the better receiving group with Kupp and Nacua going to be playing. You got the better running game right now because, Kenneth Walker is an absolute beast. He ran for 32 yards last week. It's been bad. He had mostly, the catches. He actually had more yards off of catching and receiving out of the backfield than he did running the ball. I think Seattle right now is kind of in that first-year coach. We're not going to pile on him. But you're in this division with Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. You're going to have these stretches, and you've got to understand that. And this is going to be the learning time for Mike McDonald, who I think is going to be able to really play against these guys. He will be a thorn in McVay and Shanahan's side in the coming years. Right now is the time for him to learn what it is he's facing. Remember, they already got roasted by the 49ers at home on Thursday Night Football. Now you got the Rams coming in. Big game. Not sure Seattle's ready for it. I don't know how the Rams are not favored right now. I think the Rams get the W this weekend, straight up over the Seahawks. Running game. The defense is scrappy. The defense is getting better and better and better and better each week. I told you guys that's what it was going to be. Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Young. They're really starting to gel. And just like the Broncos, that Broncos defense is stingy and nobody realizes it. Now, the Broncos have a bad matchup against Lamar Jackson this week. Don't really give the Broncos much of a chance. But the Rams defense is kind of the same way. They were really, really young. You lost Aaron Donald. Got to replace him. Kind of a new scheme. Raheem Morris goes to coach the Falcons. Give them until Thanksgiving. Give them until the middle of the season. Well, here we are, week 9. We are officially at the halfway point of this NFL season. And this defense is starting to go on the uptick. They're starting to get better. They're starting to play more as a cohesive unit. They look better when you watch the games on film. They look better in their positioning. They're not seemingly as spread out and out of position. So I think it's going to be a big win for the Rams going on the road, getting the W over the Seahawks. So there's the 7. This week, we got the Vikings over the Colts, the Rams over the Seahawks, got the Lions beating the Packers only because Jordan Love is injured, and I just don't think they will have enough to beat the running team Lions. If this gets into a passing game, Green Bay can get the W. I will be the first one to admit. In a passing game in all air, Green Bay's got the edge. But if this is going to be on the ground with the weather, I'm going the Lions, bigger offensive line. I think they're built for this, so we're going Lions. So the Vikings, the Rams, the Lions, the Commanders, the Browns, the Panthers, and the Falcons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there we go. Hawks pick 6 with the extra point, which the extra point is always the Colts game because I pick it every single week just because, well, that's what it is. I do think they got some W's coming. If Flacco starts, I think they could get to 7-10. I really do. I think they could get to 7-10, maybe 8-9, maybe. The offense just looks so much better. I'll tell you what, I am definitely playing Josh Downs in fantasy tomorrow. I will tell you that. That is 100% what I am doing. No doubt. So, there's the picks. Huge day of college football. I'm actually watching it right now. Texas A&M is still down to South Carolina. Louisville Cardinals are absolutely stomping on Clemson right now. And SMU just absolutely bullying the Pittsburgh Panthers. And I love the Pittsburgh Panthers, have for a long time, since the Larry Fitzgerald days. Wild day in college football. Man, just all over the place. Lots of top 25 upsets. Let's run through that real fast and we'll close this out. So you had the number 24 team in the country, Illinois, lost to Minnesota. You had the number 17 team in the country, Kansas State, lost to Houston. That game was fun to watch. I watched the last whole quarter of that game. It was on one of my 4 screens that I have. That was impressive. Houston fought hard. They were home, so obviously that helps. But that was impressive. Texas A&M is currently losing on the road to South Carolina. Still got 12 minutes. They're down by 10. We'll see what happens. Louisville, though, is up currently 26-7 with 7 minutes and 45 seconds left in that game over Clemson. And this is in Clemson. This is at Clemson. So, big chance for a W there. The number 11 team, they was actually tied. There's 2 number 11 teams, Clemson and Iowa State. And like I said, Iowa State lost to Texas Tech. That was a fun game, 23-22. Army is still undefeated at 8-0. They win without their starting quarterback, 20-3 over Air Force. And unfortunately, there was down in Texas, there was a lot of rain. Unfortunately, Navy, after losing to Notre Dame last week, doesn't look good this week right now. They're down to Rice, and that's it's a huge one for me because my dad was in the Navy. We follow Navy really close, and they're a good team. But I think last week really kind of got under their skin. So hopefully they can bounce back. But no less than 5, maybe 6 top 25 teams are going to go down this week. But IU is still undefeated. Heck to the yes. They are now 9-0, and we are home against Michigan next week, and I cannot wait for it. Home against Michigan, then a bye week, and then that huge game against Ohio State. So I will be talking about that this week, no doubt. All right, guys, there we go. Simple, quick, easy picks. Run them down again. I got the Falcons. I got the Panthers. Got the Browns. Got the Commanders. We got the Lions, the Vikings, and the Rams. Those are my 7 picks this week. Hopefully we can get over the 500 mark on our record. 4-3 last week. So we are now 27-29 on the year is my current record. So not horrible. But I will say, I said earlier this week in one of the podcasts, the against the spread pick'em that I do, the group that I'm in, last week I was 12. Last week I got 12 right. So who knows? I've actually thought about doing it for next year, doing Hawk versus Vegas as one of the things, but we'll see. I like doing Hawks pick 6 with the extra point being the Indianapolis Colts. Man, what a beautiful day of football. There's a lot of big spreads, guys. Not going to lie. There are a lot of big spreads tomorrow. Raiders are down by 7. Miami's a 6.5 point underdog. Carolina a 7-point underdog. Denver's almost a 10-point underdog. Jacksonville's a 7-point underdog. Tampa Bay is a 9.5 point underdog. Like, we get these big spreads. This is when upsets happen, guys. This is when the NFL shows it's the NFL. These are professional athletes playing. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Beautiful night. I'm going to continue watching these college football games. We're going to close out the night and look forward to tomorrow. Hopefully your Saturday was fantastic. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to ring that notification bell and like the podcast. I deeply appreciate it. It is a lot of fun, and hopefully I'll have a setup next week, and maybe I'll be able to do this on Saturday nights. We'll do a college recap, do the picks live, and we'll see what we can do from there. But that is going to be all for me, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Until Tuesday night, have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Have a fantastic Sunday. And until next time, for Sports Talk with Hawk, I am Hawk, and I'm out.